Alone in the dark, his best friend lying motionless beside him, Leo Major is filled with rage. To avenge his fallen comrade, he stares at the city walls with the one eye he has left, picks up his Sten gun and a bag of grenades and prepares for battle. This is the story of the solo Canadian soldier who overtook an entire Nazi-occupied town as a lone soldier. Leo Major was a highly skilled scout and sniper in the Canadian Army during World War II. Present on the infamous D-Day, Major's first solo miracle that put him in the spotlight was capturing a German personnel carrier while by himself, exposing secret codes and communication equipment inside the vehicle. Days later, Major encountered a patrol of 4 German SS soldiers, killing the men but losing his left eye to a phosphorus grenade in the process. He insisted he only needed one eye to look down the sight of a weapon and continued his fight as a reconnaissance officer throughout the conflict. He was back in service shortly after for the Battle of Scheldt in October 1944. Tasked with a reconnaissance mission to find some lazy, unhelpful teammates nicknamed zombies, Major went on yet another solo mission. While he didn't find his fellow countrymen, he did find a German patrol sleeping in a trench. Undeterred by their number, Major identified a sleeping officer in charge of the patrol, and he woke him with the muzzle of his Sten gun, ordering him to surrender his men. 3 of the men lifted their rifles at Major, but were quickly shot down by him as he took control of the entire garrison of 93 men. Marching them back to Allied forces, they were assaulted by an SS patrol manning an artillery post. The SS were notoriously patriotic, and seeing their fellow Germans surrendering enraged them, leading them to attack the group before escaping in a tank. With some injuries to the German soldiers, Major managed to return the 93 prisoners to his commander, earning him his first offer of the Distinguished Conduct Medal, the second highest available in the Canadian Army after the Victoria Cross. Major refused the medal, stating the commander awarding it was not fit to make such a decision. Back in battle in early 1945, this time in a personnel carrier, his team drove over a mine and were all killed, except Major. With both his ankles and 4 ribs shattered and his spine broken in 3 places, he was shipped to hospital for recovery. Still refusing to lay down, he continued to fight through the Netherlands to liberate them of their German occupiers. Towards the end of World War II, when the main story takes place, Major and his comrade, Corporal Willy Arsenault, were tasked with reconnaissance duties in the Dutch town of Zwolle in April 1945, which had been occupied by German forces. Under the cover of darkness, Major and Arsenault stealthily infiltrated the outskirts of Zwolle. Sneaking through the urban environment, they sought to gather as much information as possible while minimizing the risk of alerting German forces to their presence. Unfortunately, Arsenault was not so stealthy, and his rattling grenade bag alerted the enemy to their position. German guards opened fire on the men, killing Willy Arsenault in the process. However, Major managed to kill 2 of the guards and send the rest fleeing. Enraged by the loss of his only teammate, Major lay Arsenault's body outside the walls, picked up his comrade's weapons and grenade bag, and marched into the city. Ignoring his reconnaissance mission and knowing that the Canadian forces planned to send artillery to the town the following day, Major took matters into his own hands. What happened next is the incredible story of his solo rampage, highlighting Major's bravery against an impossible situation. Leo Major launched an all-out attack on the occupied city. His first quick-thinking action was to hijack a vehicle on the edge of the city, stealing the driver's MP-40 machine gun to accompany his 2 Sten guns, and forcing the driver to drive him to his commander. Once outside the bar where the driver said his commander was drinking, Major stormed in and found the German in charge. He disarmed him and began convincing him, in French, that the Canadian Army was waiting outside the walls with artillery, prepared to destroy the entire town, wiping out the German and civilian population. Major let the commander leave to spread his story to his men of the surrounding threat. Meanwhile, he began to reinforce the story with actions of his own. Using the 3 submachine guns that he had acquired, as well as a bag of grenades, Major marched down the occupied streets during the dead of night. He began throwing grenades throughout the city and firing his weapon at any units he encountered, causing many enemy casualties in the process. This loud and sudden assault gave the impression of a much bigger army than the lone soldier behind it all. And it worked. Many of the patrols began to surrender, and Major would round up a dozen or so of the men, march them at gunpoint to the city outskirts, and hand them over the Allied lines. Picking up his handful of weapons, he would return to the city for round 2, 3, and 4, occasionally resting in civilian houses to refresh between captures. After approximately 10 times, his tally had hit nearly 100 men captured. But Major wasn't finished. He didn't want just the foot soldiers. It was time to hunt down the big dogs. Major identified the Gestapo headquarters and sent Molotov cocktails blazing through the windows, burning the building to the ground. The fire created more confusion, leading to some soldiers fleeing the city. The SS headquarters was next, and Major stormed inside, killing 4 guards in the process. By this point, many of the remaining German soldiers truly believed that the town was under siege by a large number of Canadian forces and were surrendering or running for their lives. This brought a number of the Dutch resistant members out from their homes, who supported Major in securing the town hall, marching the civilian residents out into the streets and officially liberating the city of Zwolle. In his moment of glory, Leo Major could not forget his fallen comrade. He marched back to the side of his friend, picked up his body, and returned to his regiment to deliver the news. Despite the tragic loss of his comrade, Corporal Willie Arsenault, Leo Major's determination, courage, and ingenuity ensured the success of the mission and contributed to the Allied victory in the Netherlands. He went on to fight in the Korean War a few years later, serving as a veteran despite being only 29 years old. In 2005, he was given honorary citizenship in the city of Zwolle before passing away in 2008. If you think a task is too big to handle, consider the story of this one-eyed lone soldier, Leo Major, as a source of inspiration, and know that you can achieve amazing things against seemingly impossible odds. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content. Sergeant Rooster, over and out.